Talk Wad Radio Network welcomes you to the SpiritPioneers.com channel, where you can find Momma J Speaks, also simulcasted on theartsradio.com channel as well. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a second moment of my personal internet radio show, Momma J Speaks. We are actually broadcasting live right now from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. And joining me is a wonderful musician by the name of James Smith. Welcome.
Hey, Momma J. Thanks for having us on.
He's actually a nice Scottish-man. Did I almost do that?
No, it's not bad. Not bad.
So,
a lot of people I hear from the States try and do a Scottish accent, they come out sounding Indian or Pakistani or something for some reason. I have no idea why. And their only experience of Scotland is the dude on Star Trek. The number of people who come up to me and give me this line like, oh, yes, indeed, the lithium crystals cannot take much more of this, Captain. Oh, the Klingons and the starboard bow, indeed.
Wonderful.
So you weren't that bad.
Okay, well, that's good. Well, everyone, the music that you just heard is the intro to this show. It is, however, brought to you by this lovely person here, this lovely gentleman with Druid roots that he's been with, and currently a solo act. You can find him anywhere between here and the Panhandle, you said?
Yeah, I work in the Tampa Bay area and the Panhandle. I got a couple places there, a couple places in South Carolina, Columbia, and a little town called Anderson I work at, a place called McGee's. Also, Kevin Barry's in Savannah, Georgia.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much. He's actually going to join us this evening as he participates with the discussion. We're going to dabble into the what is the point of dating these days. I've been noticing a lot of interesting ongoings with that. Just to give everyone an up to speed of who I am. I am Momma J. I have been, let me put it to you all this way. I was born to a single mother. Then later she did marry and had 4 more children. And I was the oldest. I've been the daughter, a sister, a student, a companion, a mother, a friend, a poet, a facilitator, a motivator, a freelance writer, out of the box, in the box, out of the box again, with constant new levels of wisdom. And so this is everyone's opportunity to come embark with the journey of what I'm willing to share to help encourage you all with your own personal journey of awareness and spiritual awakening. So, are you ready?
Wow, I can hardly wait. Let's get this going. Yeah.
All right, wonderful. Well, here's some of the questions that I want all of you to consider. I know there's a whole plethora of you out there. Plethora. Yeah. You like that?
Spray that again?
Oh, yes. I should also let you all know that if any of you would like to call in and be part of the discussion, ask questions, because this is interactive, you can call 727-493-2055. That is 727-493-2055. Would love to hear from you. Get your opinions, outlooks, points of view, anything. Oh, I'm here for you. We're here for you.
Yeah, it could be so lonely without you, so come on and join us.
Absolutely. All right. So the questions that I want to pose for everyone, single, not single, process of being single, ask yourselves these at some point. Because these are questions that have been showing up in my thoughts a lot lately. Does anyone truly want to be found? Does anyone want to be cared for? Does anyone want to be loved, accepted, or befriended? And how about wanting to be taken care of by one another? And are we really meant to be with only one person for life? So, those are some questions to be asking yourselves this evening, and see what you come up with.
Some biggies in there.
Yeah. What do you
Jeez,
think?
man, that was quite a list. Okay, let's tick them off one at a time here. 'Cause
Okay.
I'm a sequential kind of guy.
All right.
That was how I dated too when I did date.
Really?
Sequential kind
Oh,
of guy.
goody. We
So-
get to have some insight from the male perspective.
So-
Awesome.
So let's hear the first question again.
All right. First question. Does anyone truly want to be found?
I guess it depends where you are.
This is true.
So, hey, why would you want to be found if you're happy and where you are right now? Okay, I guess what we're talking about is what does that mean? You wrote the question.
Well, what I mean by it is that in my own personal experience, and as I've watched other people's experiences with relationships, you find people that get into a relationship, everything is lovely, hoity-toity, whatever. And then within 60 days, you immediately start hearing people complaining about every little thing about that person. And then the next thing you know, it's this, it's that. Oh, this person was horrible. I have even done it myself. And then you find yourself sabotaging the potential relationship. So then I've taken a step back and I'm like, well, have I even really wanted to be found? These people that I've been involved with, did they actually want to be found and be with me? I mean, what's the scoop on that?
Right. Okay, I'm going to start sounding like a psychologist here. You brought me on as a musician, and I'm going to start dissecting this thing.
That's because your wifey poo is a psychologist. He's been learning a lot from her.
Yes, marriage will do that. Yep. Okay. She's an educator,
Right.
And psychology is something that interests her, and we talk a lot about this stuff. One of the questions I asked her actually early on in the dating process was, what sort of books do you have in the relationship realm in your collection?
Oh.
And one of them that really had a big impact on me, I think if you look back on your life when you have big turning points, you maybe only have 5 or 6 of them, perhaps like really major life-changing turning points in your life. And very often times, at least 2 or 3 of them are probably something to do with a book. You know?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm talking about?
Story of my life.
Well, this was a big book for me. And so I asked her if she had this one, and she had read it. It was Harville Hendricks. It's got a cheesy title. It's called Getting the Love You Want. And I got to tell you, I don't have any stock in his book or anything, so I'm not here to promote it for him. But it did a lot for me. One of the points that came out of that relates to this, and that is, let me just say his book is not really particularly in itself original because he's using all the Freud and the Jung stuff, right? It's been done before, but it's the way that he says it is kind of so accessible. When we date and we do the fall in love thing, we've got all the endorphins and other hormones.
Oh, yes, the
swishing
chemistry.
around, right? You idealize what's in front of you. It's this perfect painting, right? And then you get that, whatever you said, 60 days or so, or whatever. Hopefully it's a little bit longer than that for some people. It can be quite short.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so then the cracks in the painting begin to show. And what's happened when you first saw them and they were this perfect painting is...
They're Monets.
Well, yeah. You just didn't actually see them. You know, you're really saying this is what you saw when you saw them, but you didn't really see them.
Yeah.
What you were seeing
was the illusion.
Well, more specifically, to get all Freudian on you here, it was some compilation of your mom and dad. It's what you actually saw. And the issues that you haven't yet worked through with them.
Right.
You know, whatever it was, mommy was rejecting and more possessive the other way, or daddy was
too domineering,
or too laissez-faire and not interested in
right,
or even maybe not there at all. Whatever the issue is, I mean, those are a lot of the biggies there covered. But there can be substance abuse and all kinds of stuff covered in there. You know, whatever it is with your parents, you see them when you see this person you fall in love with. The really freaky thing about it is, oftentimes it's the thing that you didn't like about them, the thing that hurt you the most about them. You see in that person, I love you. And then when it comes to that 60 days or 6 months or heck, maybe 6 days later, then the cracks in the painting start to show when you realize, damn, this is the same old crap I've been putting up with since I was a kid.
Yeah.
And you know what? It is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm a big fan of him, so that's who I would quote on that. And another thing that he says is, Harville Hendrix in his book, Getting the Love You Want, he says, you have to do this. We're destined to do this. That there's no other way around it. In fact, it's the most efficient way to work through your crap.
Is everyone paying attention to this? It's coming from a guy. Love this. We did have this discussion prior, so just letting you all know. Put it out there. Just let them know.
Yeah, I mean, we've all got our baggage we're carrying around from our past things that have hurt us. And yeah, that's the way to work through it, is in relationships. Now, you don't necessarily want to marry the first person you're having this awful fight with. But that you can start to know thyself through the process.
Yes. And that is the best thing that I have learned from a very friction-based relationship that I call Catalyst Man. Because that person brought up so much stuff, and boy, did I have to look at every aspect of myself to own up to it, for one. And then once I started to own up to all these idiocracies and faux pas and flaws, and I started to go on my journey to change and figure all that out, I'm definitely a totally different person that I was. And when I can have my own father say to me, a man would be crazy not to marry you, as opposed to when he used to say to me, you'll never find a man that wants to marry you.
That's really, I mean, a crappy thing to say, though, isn't it? You know, to a young girl.
Yeah.
It's not what you want to hear.
It's he's himself. He's a different person than he was at that time.
I met your dad. He's so cool.
Well, yeah, it took a lot of growing up. You know, I had to raise him right. No, just kidding. It was a combination of both my parents and myself going through the changes and understanding the whole concept that they are their own individual people. And that also contributes to how relationships are affected as well. And it's a farce when they say, oh, when you get married, you're not marrying the family. You're just marrying that person. I found out the hard way. That is wrong. When you do get married to a person, you are marrying not just that person, but the entire enchilada of where they came from and how it occurred and everything else.
All those experiences are wrapped in there.
Oh, yes, it is. But as I have put my commentary together, which I'm going to share with you all, I've written, does anyone really want to be in a long-term relationship that leads to marriage, despite that most people have an ideology that is actually tainted these days? Meaning perhaps they really don't believe in the essence of what a marriage is meant to be or could be. Another point. The concept has been depleting for a while, and coming from my personal experience, it has brought up a lot lately to reconsider. Consider for a moment being able to be just yourself without changing who you really are unless you're ready to do so. However, I would hope that it's the aspect of self you're actually aware of that is of love, patience, kindness, and joy. Do you have any input on that as to what you personally went through, of your realizations of these little,
Well, one of the messages that comes to mind here that I used to receive since a kid, and I know a lot of people receive this similar message, is, oh, you'll be all right. One day you'll find the right gal, And I get I hear women getting the same sort of thing. You'll meet the right man one day. One day he'll come along, and you'll hear this from a kid, and you'll hear it into your adult years from your family. And when something doesn't work out with a guy,
Oh, he
that's
wasn't the
something
right
that's like,
wrong.
yeah,
He
you'll
wasn't
you'll,
right for
you'll
you.
find Mr. Right one of these days. He'll come along, and everything will be hunky dory. There's a subtle but really important piece of the message that was missed out there.
Oh yeah.
Because what I discovered later on, much later on, to my chagrin, it was much later on, but I finally did put this together. What needed to happen was I needed to become the right man.
Ding 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 ding.
When that happened, she showed right on up.
Oh yes, and she's a beautiful woman.
Thank you. And it didn't take long, by the way. When I made that shift, it was rapid. She showed up like within a few short months.
Wow. And how long did it take for you to go through your change within yourself? And what was the turning point for you when you finally looked at yourself and said, there's something within me I need to change?
Well, I'm going to talk to you like now I have arrived. Who needs to change anything now? No, it's an ongoing process.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Geez. When did it begin? Geez.
I stumped you.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about it. I wasn't much reflective as a kid. I was a bit of a smart aleck, actually. My mom brought me up in such a way I was kind of full of myself. No, I'm not blaming my mom.
Yeah, after a certain age, you got to stop blaming parents.
No, exactly. I was a smart aleck, but I think I got to reflections, late teens, early 20s. That was the beginnings of it.
Oh wow!
And wanted to just turn the looking glass on myself a little bit and see where I could grow. And I'm such a social person. It's very important to me. And my job is very social, being a musician. I meet so many people all the time. And so if there's something about you that's a bit arrogant or a bit full of yourself, then that really quickly
affects the ego.
Right. But this is immediate feedback loop when you're in the public all the time.
Right,
immediately will let you know with a look or a word or whatever. You get enough of that, then I start to... So everyone's got their own little thing they got to work through. For some people, for example, who are introverted, then they have to work on putting themselves out there a bit more, believing in themselves, more self-esteem, and more confidence socially. For me, it was the other way. I was a smart mouth, and so I had to temper that a little and look at myself a little and grow up a little. And that took place over my 20s, and it's still taking place during my 30s.
Well, congratulations for even being becoming aware as young as you were, because a lot of males, they're like aloof until, I don't know, 40s, 50s. Of course, it all depends on each individual soul, each individual person's path overall.
Well, I'm going to stick up for the guys a little here and say it's not a gender thing necessarily.
It's a woman thing.
There's a lot of blankness behind the eyes on all kinds of people.
This is true.
You
Yes,
connect
yes.
to them. But it's a question of our own personal journey and being aware and being a little self-reflective. One of the things I learned from my educator wife,
the
Carla,
lovely wife,
was that she listed for me there was 7 different individual types of intelligence. Now, this is really good stuff. Now, I wish to goodness I was smart enough to remember all 7 of them.
But if you get 5 out of 7, we're good.
One of them that was really, really a good one, I thought this was a biggie, and the other 6 could all benefit just from this one, was intrapersonal intelligence. Now, there was another one on the list of 7, which was interpersonal intelligence, which was your ability to cultivate relationships with other people and deal with other people in various different situations, professionally and privately and in all kinds of different ways, right? That's your interpersonal. But intrapersonal is the knowing thyself thing.
Right.
And turning that looking glass on yourself. And if you can do that, then you can improve all kinds of other intelligences, And so,
absolutely.
So not just learning things, absorbing information, but changing the way that you absorb and changing who you are as a person. I look back at when I was, 20. I don't think I would want to meet the 20-year-old version of myself. I wouldn't like him much. I don't think.
No, I've definitely been very reflective over the past 7 to 10 years of my life. And I definitely have seen where the alpha female and within was a little bit too alphaness. And somebody that I started to take some classes or pay attention to, was Allison Armstrong. She actually has this wonderful curriculum. Understandmen.com is her site if anyone wants to check her out. And I watched some of her videos and information, and I was like, she made this point of how a lot of us women, based upon how we're brought up in society these days, we've learned to become like frog farmers. We've taken princes and we've turned them into frogs instead of taking a frog and turning them into a prince, based upon all these ideologies that we have to be this strong woman and we have to be productive and we have to do this and we have to do that. And although we can all appreciate what our capabilities are and we can really stand next to a man, and these days we do a lot of the exact same things as males do. However, it's really a matter of realizing that we don't constantly have to be doing that, and we can actually take a step back and allow a good man to just be himself and be that strong provider, that strong producer, be whatever it is that is innately part of a man's nature.
The music that is to so many men's ears. Yeah, that's very good stuff. Well put. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Because last night I did something out of my box that I've put myself in lately, and I joined a meetup group, and it was very fascinating and it was very fun. I want to say hello to those people that I met last night in a meetup group. You know who you are if you're actually watching this show. But anyways,
how'd it go?
It went absolutely wonderful, and I noticed that there was quite a few alpha females there.
Mm-hmm.
And I was getting into some sort of dialogue with them and kind of saying, well, you might happen to be single because you're so much wanting to be in control. And that's what we all have a tendency of doing. We always want to be in control and control and control. And we don't know when to take a step back and just say, oh, you're that lovely man. Oh, by all means, you take control of the situation, or you deal with it, or, because one, we don't always give the type of support and encouragement to men. I think we've become, us women to a certain degree, we've become too egoic with how we want to perceive all men. Yes, there is that assortment of men that they're straight up a pain in the butt. They're arrogant. They're not the nicest to be around. However, there are those men out there that do exist, although they're hard to find these days. But they are out there that if we just give them the respect that they deserve, thus they'll give the respect that we deserve, and they'll be supportive of us just as much as we'll be supportive of them. But it's got to be allowed. Us women, we don't always want to allow things. We want to make things happen, or we want to just take control over it because, damn it, we're smarter. And it's not always that we're smarter. We've been, told that we're so much smarter. I think it's equal overall.
Sure it is. I love what you're saying, and a lot of people are going to just go crazy at what you're saying, I think, because they're mishearing what you're saying. There's a big difference between being compliant,
right,
and just simply being receptive. And I think that's where a lot of women put up walls around the message that you were just given right there. Because there are a lot of women who do have the, am I allowed to say ball busters?
It's okay.
Okay. It's a kind of an archetype, but it exists for a reason. It's a wonderful thing, of course. Women should do everything they want to do and be everything they can be, and rule the workplace, and rule the world.
If that's what you really want to do.
Wherever your job is, be the best at it. Just like just in the same equal way that I would say a guy should be his best at it. But I think one of the big things is when a woman has a job, especially a high-powered job, the more high-powered job it is, the harder I think this is to switch it off when they get home.
Right.
There has to be a double life going on there for a successful woman.
Yes.
And an independent, strong, successful woman, which many women are, and I really admire that. I have married a very strong, independent, successful woman, and I think it's really, really cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want anything else.
It was this type of conversation that actually got us talking for us to become friends because, his wife, wonderful as she is, very highly educated, she was sharing with me how she's a PhD, is it?
Almost. She'll be a Christmas PhD.
Right.
Dissertation's in.
Well, I admired her. I told her, I'm like, wow, you go, girl. I admire you because you have the tenacity to stick with it, and it just went from there and everything. Either, at any rate, his wife and I, we have wonderful discussions, and it's great to bring him in and then share his perspective on everything. So I wanted to also share with you how it fascinates me to see how I somewhat think the whole dating thing is idiotic. I recently came across someone that is not sure where he is at emotionally about himself, let alone myself. Well, I've been finding a lot of men are emotionally unavailable, but I also realized that I've been emotionally unavailable as well. That was an eye-opener. However, I have to give him credit for taking me out and giving some semblance of a relationship prelude to wherever we are to end up. And it's a feeling of awe because this gentleman that I'm referring to is an alpha male. And I often allowed him to take the lead despite what he actually thought. He doesn't realize that I really was letting him take the lead on things.
Well, you did it right then.
Yeah.
You don't want him to figure out what you're doing here.
Yeah, he doesn't.
It's no idea. This is great. I love it.
But I know that at the core of this person, he's a very loving, compassionate man. And something that we all need to consider is letting go of preempt expectations, the ideology of this perfect mate that will come and rescue us and fix us and this and that. Because in the reality of everything, no, you don't want somebody that's going to be nitpicking and tweaking and this and that. You just want a person that's willing to accept you for who you are at that moment, because we all go through a process of change at different points in our lives. And whether or not you're with a partner that is understanding to that makes a whole hell of a lot of difference, whether or not you can have a successful relationship.
Yeah, if you need rescuing from the wreckage, then you better have built your own boat.
Yeah, because I'm wanting everybody to understand that at some point, take a step back and discover your own personal quirks and nooks and crannies of the self within before masking it all. Again, to throw at another unsuspecting lost soul as well, thus then creating a hornet's nest of crazy behaviors.
All right, what do I make of that?
Well, coming from personal experience, and I know there's plenty of you out there that could relate on some level. When you are working on yourself, life is like a boomerang. Whatever you throw out there, if you're having your own emotional turmoil, whatever, you throw it at somebody, some way, somehow, it comes back at you.
Sure.
And then you sit there and yap and complain and go crazy like a hornet's nest that you've created. And then you're like, I don't know what happened.
I have created a monster.
Oh my gosh, what did I do? What is this person doing? Why is this person acting this way to me? I don't understand. And it's actually your own stuff that you've thrown at that person, unsuspecting person. And then that person is actually doing it back to you. So then you have this hornet's nest.
Yeah, I totally get what you mean here. Yeah, we've all got our little hot buttons, don't we?
Yeah.
You can pick on someone and go, yeah, look at your big ears, you know. Go, yeah, look at you, your oversized whatever, your hand. Oh, look at those big feet. Oh, don't you tell me about my big feet. You know, you get that one, and it's just, oh, you know, you can say anything about anything else. Oh, don't you mention that? That's the thing. And you've all got that little hot button that was created somehow by, again, it's parent stuff. It all happened when we were kids. And then they say that one thing that sets you off. We've all got it. Anyone who's into Eckhart Tolle would know it's called The Pain Body. Oh, you have the book right there. There she goes.
Everybody out there, you know my books. I love to recommend books. This is an Eckhart Tolle book. I don't know if you can really make do of what it is. It's called The Power of Now. It's a great book. Yes. You've read it. Did this help with your whole change of stuff?
Yeah, he's a powerful writer. He's got a powerful story as well. A very successful, academic PhD, outwardly successful in the eyes of most people in the Western world, and then he just quits his job and he's homeless for quite a while. I don't know if it was a year or two.
Yeah,
a while, and in search of what it was he really wanted to do, because he knew that his job wasn't fulfilling his purpose on this earth. Mm-hmm. And now he's become a teacher and writer of these spiritual books.
Yeah, and I was just recently rereading another book of his, and the whole ego thing. I have been struggling with the ego thing because, according to what he talks about, you want to let go of the ego, let go of the ego, let go of the ego. But then I'm like, wait a minute. You need to have some ego. You need to have some personality, especially in this third dimension of existence.
You mean we're not our car?
No,
we're really not?
We're not our car, but we do need a healthy ego, from what I have gathered, as opposed to no ego at all. Because some of his books kind of interpret that you should totally get rid of your ego altogether. What I've come to realize is that ego, as you raise your consciousness and you raise into the higher levels of vibrations, which I know some of you out there are like, huh? What the world are you talking about? It's okay. Just keep watching the show and it'll all start coming together for you. I promise. Or not. It's totally up to you. But I've realized that to have a healthy ego in this state of consciousness of this world existence, and as we are rising up, that's when the ego is not needed anymore. So then we're just living and experiencing life solely from our spiritual soul level of our heart. And we're in that space of love and peace and kindness and acceptance, not only of ourselves, but of one another. Does that make any sense to you?
Yeah, so it's still there with us, but it's just like this appendix.
Yeah, it's like an arm.
It's a spare part.
Absolutely. Most definitely. So we are going to break soon, and we're going to play some more of your actual music, I think from your solo CD.
I'm so flattered you're playing my music. Thank you so much for doing
I
it.
am so grateful that you're like, here, use this if you'd like.
It's all right. And to hear the opening, the song you played there, real nice.
Yeah, wasn't that Poets and Authors?
Yeah, I haven't heard that one in a long time.
Yeah, when I really started to listen to the words, I'm like, oh my gosh, he's so right. That goes perfect for this.
Oh, hey,
so we are going and enjoy this music selection, and we'll see you soon.
I still lights of old Aberdeen mean home, sweet home to me. The northern lights of Aberdeen, what I long to see. I've been a wanderer all of my life, many's the sight I've seen. Godspeed the day when I'm on my way to my home in Aberdeen. When I was a lad, a tiny wee lad, my mother said to me, come see the northern lights, my boy, they're bright as they can be. She called them the heavenly dancers, the dancers in the sky. I'll never forget that glorious sight. Oh, they made the heavens bright. Oh, the northern lights of old Aberdeen mean home, sweet home to me. The northern lights of Aberdeen, what I long to see. I've been a wanderer all of my life, many's the sight I've seen. Godspeed the day when I'm on my way to my home in Aberdeen. Sure you ride the finest horse I've ever seen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed the music that we were giving you a little break for. And why don't you share with us, James, your solo album, where people can find it? And
Yeah, okay. Well, you can go to my website. It's somelikeitscott.com. Yeah, I know it's cutesy, huh?
very cutesy.
One T in Scott. Somelikeitscott.com. You go to somelikeitscott.com with 2 T's. You get a very different kind of website, and I want to make it absolutely clear to y'all that one's got nothing to do with me. All right?
In other words, it's one of those.
Right, sorry. So you put it into the URL. You can't Google it or anything. It's URL, somelikeitscott.com, 1 T. You got me.
Absolutely.
Right. And there's also the Druid Roots website. It's a little out. We need to do some updating on that one now, but druidroots.com, you can buy the band CD there.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing that information and whatnot.
Thanks for playing my songs. That was a nice little interlude there. I was enjoying the music. Thanks.
Absolutely. Well, with my my show and everything and being simulcast not only on the spiritpioneers.com but also the artsradio.com as well, I want to be able to reach as many people as possible and know that I'm very eclectic with what I talk about, what I'm interested in, and I hope to bring people together in all those different ways to encourage their own development and awareness of their divinity and whatnot. Everybody this evening that has been tuning in, yes, this topic has been about, stepping into some relationship type things. And, but I want to also get back to, I ultimately want to share with you all how I share, and give you and send you all love, light, and blessings, that I hold you all in prayer, and I am looking forward to when you all start to get unshy and call in so we can have conversations with you out there as well. And again, that number is 727-493-2055. If anyone is like just itching their fingers, but they're still a little fearful. I can guarantee you, it'll be a welcoming aspect of the show and
Make that
whatnot.
call.
Yes, absolutely. What is your perception on your reality these days?
Really? Well, since I sobered up, pretty good, clear.
Sobered up. Oh, do tell.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not a drinker these days, so everything's pretty clear. Actually, I'm sorry. Do you mind if I jump up a second and shut that door? I'm sorry. I should probably. Oh, you got it? Okay, someone's got it. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Nolan. You
So
forgot to close the door.
It's all right. My reality just got warmer, which is a good thing, I think.
Petrified. The door is open. Anyone can come in.
I liked what you were saying there before we had our break, though, about the balance between the men and the women. It's kind of it's really universal primal stuff here. You know, the men are the more forceful energy, the ones who want to organize and take charge and get in there. You know, and then the women are more, that feminine energy is more of a lean back, receptive, receiving energy. And that's the power and the beauty of the two different genders. You know?
Yes.
And it's celebrating those genders for what they are. We all have a little bit of both in us. As a man, I have a little of the feminine in me, and as a woman, you have a little of the masculine in you. And it's getting a good balance of those things and celebrating all those things about us.
Absolutely.
It's only when they get out of whack, I think, that our realities get a little bit messed up.
Yeah. I have, ironically, with all of this, right? I used to be one of those type of women that was like, as you were putting up, ball buster. And I started to see how, in essence, women's lib is kind of shooting us all in the foot.
Here's the thing. I got something to say about that.
Please do share.
There needed to be a women's movement, obviously.
Right.
You know, when you turn the clock back and you look at the 60s and before, boy, did you ever need a women's movement, right?
Right.
Here's the thing. If you compare this, and I think this is a really powerful comparison and it puts it in perspective. If you compare the women's movement to the civil rights movement, with the civil rights movement, there was two big leaders. Then Dr. King became the predominant leader ultimately, but then there was also Malcolm X as well.
Right.
You had there was kind of a choice. There was two different camps going on there. You know, the women's movement only had a Malcolm X. There was like, fight them, dominate them, resist the oppression, and do it with force if you have to.
Right, yeah.
But there was no equivalent of a Martin Luther King, and I think the women's movement needs a Martin Luther King now. The time is ripe for it. And my wife Carla knocks me for this, but she doesn't think that I got this one right. But I really think that she's going to be the next one.
Really?
I think she's going to be the women's Martin Luther King.
Well, I might be right next to her because her and we were having that great initial conversation, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, you get it." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm seeing this stuff. I'm realizing it, and I'm doing it all on my own, no less, because I'm realizing all my mistakes." Yes, women do make mistakes, and we are not always right, even though we convince ourselves we are always right. I probably just lost everybody right there. I'm just saying, we're being fair.
I've still got to get Carla on this show. I'm gonna really work on her now. Okay, She needs to be on the show. One of the things she says in her classes, she teaches classes on this stuff. You know, in fact, she's teaching one right now in Tampa.
You want to say hi to her? Hi.
Hey, beautiful. See you in a
few hours,
an hour and a half or so. Yeah, I think I'm cooking tonight. So yeah, one of the things that she says in her class, which I think is just the most simple of all things you could ever think of doing, and it's really powerful, is on a date or in any interaction that you may lead to a date potentially. Women, lean back. That's it.
Yes.
Physically, lean back in your chair.
Okay.
When you're having the interaction with the man, and watch, because when you lean back, you know what's going to happen.
He comes forward.
Indeed, he does.
Absolutely.
And it's what that is. It's an invitation. It's a feminine invitation. And if he's a man who's interested in you, he'll accept it and he'll lean forward.
So all
Simple
of you
but
out
powerful.
there, yeah, I think we need to revisit our roots of femininity and masculinity, and figure out what works, what doesn't work, and maybe create something new that is more compromising for both people, for both sexes and stuff like that.
Have fun with it, by the way, as well. We've been kind of serious here, but you know,
I know.
and enjoy it. It's supposed to be a lot of fun.
It's a fun discovery. Instead of getting always mad or frustrated, just kind of laugh it off most of the time, because in the end, we'll find out this has all been illusion and it's a big joke. That's what my mom keeps saying. That's what my mother and I always agree on.
I'm not sure I agree on that one. I think there's something that's that there is a deeper meaning. There's a purpose. But yeah, God certainly does have a sense of humor. There's no doubt about that. I mean, just look around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So if anyone has been interested in any of the books that I mentioned last week, I believe I brought up Autobiography of a Yogi. It's this book here. It's something that I actually read when I was 14 years old. And it's a true story about this person's spiritual journey and everything. And then I followed it up with his book around the same age, The Divine Romance. And this was something that totally opened my eyes of a spiritual path that has taken me to this point. But it really helped me with my connection with God. Was there anything in your life that created a turning point similar to that, with finding your path of spirituality?
Yeah, there's been several turning points that I can think of over the years. One of the first ones, I got to tell you, I was brought up entirely atheist.
Really?
In a predominantly, I would say Britain is a predominantly very atheist sort of country now, really. The country's standardized, the standard religion, the Church of England or the Church of Scotland is Protestant, Presbyterian in Scotland. So there is that, but I think as a society, it's pretty much secular. And my upbringing was very secular. So I really only started to connect as an adult when I was, I remember the first thought I had of this when I was studying philosophy at University of Aberdeen. And we were doing logic. And this sounds like a really simplistic thing to say, but actually, it really did actually make me think. It was we were studying logic and arguments. And this was this big argument about for the case of religion. And the argument goes this. There is a world. That's the first premise. Now, that's a class premise. It's a real tough premise to shake. You can't really muck around with a premise like that. I mean, I guess if you study philosophy enough, you could start going into arguments about, well, this table isn't really here, this table in front of us. But
A Course in Miracles will do that to you.
other than going to absurd places like that, I think we can agree on the premise, there is a world. Okay, then the next premise was, someone or something must have created it.
An energy.
Now, you can argue that premise maybe, but someone or something must have created it. And that seemed pretty logical to me. Therefore, there is a God. And that just seemed like an argument that I had to ponder for a while there. And I thought about it, and that makes sense. Sure. Someone or something did it. And then, of course, the next thing that you go from that point is, okay, so what's the nature of this thing that created this world? And that's, of course, a whole lifetime of thinking about it.
And a whole other segment as well, because I've actually been doing a lot of different readings and findings and whatnot that lead to the fact that it's all energy. It's all of us being energy of atoms, protons, all of that scientific, deep quantum mechanic, quantum physics, all that stuff that actually creates the process of everything that we visualize and see.
Well, geez, we better be sending out good vibes then, huh?
Exactly. Exactly.
You bet.
And that is why I want to meditate. We're going to have a moment where I do a little guided meditation to send out positive energy vibes to all of our watchers, all of our listeners, even though there may only be 10.
Oh, don't say that.
But there could be like, well, that's 10 more than last week. I mean, and I think logically about things, because I know this is it's a new thing for everyone to start tuning in to my segments and what I'm offering, and to figure out, well, what is she offering? And there is value. It is a matter of what value you take from what is given in these segments and from my guests that I will be having and everything. I just feel very honored that you were willing to give some of your music up, and then also come in for being my very first guest ever. High five on that one.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's been a pleasure.
I really, really appreciate it. But as we take a few moments for us to just close our eyes for a moment and breathe in 3 times, and just allow the stillness of now to be. And to take into our presence the divine light and love and peace that we all emanate from. Hold that space deep within your hearts, minds, and souls. And know that every single one of you out there is so, so blessed. And know that you are divinely guided, whether you recognize it or not. And we hold sacred space for every single one of you, that as you work deeper within yourselves and you awaken, you will truly find the soul evolution purpose of your being. And I thank you all for your existence with gratitude. And so it is, and so it shall be. Amen. Did you like that?
I did. Thank you, Momma J.
Absolutely. I hope everyone is going to have a wonderful week. And we will see you next Monday from 5 to 6. Have a great day.